Yes, we are back. Happy New Year. We are ready to go. It's just a great day here in East Tonka. Daily 20. We are going to look at solving quadratics. And today we are easing into the quadratic solving. Quadratics, again, are when I have a squared variable. In general, a quadratic equation will look like ax squared plus bx plus c. And I should add to that, technically, since it is an equation, you should have equal 0. And with that, we are going to look at today when my b value is 0, meaning that I am not going to have any x variables or any variable terms that are raised to the first power. I'm only going to have variables squared and numerical values. So when I have this situation, it makes for a nice and easy solving method. And all we need to do is use inverse operations. Don't forget your friends and mine, the inverse operations. We have addition and subtraction, multiplication, division, and lastly, we will use the square and square root inverse operations. Again, our goal today is to isolate, get the given variable alone using those inverse operations. So with example 1, straightforward, I have k squared is equal to 16. So I want to get this equation solved for k. So the only thing I need to do to get k alone is to undo squaring it. So to undo squaring it, I'll take the square root of both sides. Square root are inverses. They wipe each other out. Then I'm going to have k equals. Here's where I need to be really careful. What number or numbers times itself equals 16? I have two solutions here. I have 4. That's my obvious solution because 4 times 4 is sweet 16. But I cannot forget about negative 4. Negative 4 times negative 4 is also sweet 16. So my two solutions here are positive and negative 4. So go ahead and write plus minus 4, 4, comma, negative 4, 4, and negative 4. However you want to do it, just make sure that you have both two solutions here. Well, example 2, here we go, curveball number 1. Got my x squared alone, so I'm going to undo the square by square rooting both sides. Great, x equals square root of negative 100. Now, some of you who have taken pre-calc, those higher order classes, you've probably learned about imaginary numbers. In applied math, imaginary is not a real life application. So whenever we are trying to take a square root of a negative number, unless you're Chuck Norris, you can't do it, all right? We are going to say in applied mathematics that there is no real solution. Yes, there is a solution, it's imaginary, but no real solution. If you do want to put your imaginary solution, I'm not going to go into it, but if you want to, you know it, and you just feel like you have a great imagination, go for it. If you want to go 10i, I am fine with that. Examples 3 and beyond, we are going to have multiple sets of inverse operations that we're going to use to get our variable alone. So example 3, I have m squared plus 7 equals 88. So to get my m squared alone, I'm first going to undo the adding 7. So I'll subtract 7 from both sides. I'll be left with m squared equals 88 minus 7, 81. To get the m alone, I'll undo squaring it by taking the square root of both sides. Square root of 81, remember I'm finding solutions, not just simplifying the expression. So I need to have both positive and negative 9. Quiz test questions, these are 2 points, 1 for each answer. All right, example 4, you might be thinking, oh, it's a negative 500, no real solution. Take your time, step by step. To get the x squared alone, I'll undo multiplying it by negative 5, so I'll divide both sides by negative 5. And when I divide both sides by negative 5, watch what happens. I'm going to have positive x squared equals positive 100. Negative 500 divided by negative 5 is a positive. So I'll undo the square by taking the square root of both sides. Square root cancel. And I'll have positive and negative 10. Again, 2 points, one for positive 10, one for negative 10. Similar with example 5 here, we just have one added step. We need to get the 8b squared alone first by adding 7 to both sides. So I'll have 8b squared equals 193 plus 7 is 200. I'll get the b squared alone, undo multiplying by 8 with dividing both sides by 8. I'll be left with b squared equals 25. And then to undo the square, I'll take the square root of both sides. And b will be positive and negative. 5! Cinco, si, bueno. All right. 5 down, 4 to go. We can do this. 3y squared plus 10 is $1.18. We'll subtract 10 to begin to get my 3y squared alone. So I've got 3y squared will equal 118 minus 10, which is a cool 108. Did you enjoy the Christmas or holiday music? My kids did. Holy smokes. All right. Dividing both sides by 3. Y squared will equal cool 108 divided by 3 is 36. Undo square, I'll take the square root of both sides. And don't forget positive and negative 6. I bet you're getting the hang of this now. The last 3 here just to make sure you are healthy, wealthy, and wise. Example 7. Careful, we got some negatives coming in here. 2m squared plus 10 is 2. When I subtract 10 from both sides, 2m squared will equal 2 minus 10 is negative 8. Dividing by 2, we're going to have m squared equals negative 4. And then when I do the square root of both sides, again, in our little world here, there is no real solution. If you want to use NRS, I am AAA okay with that. All right, last 2, the final countdown. We're going to subtract 1 from both sides to get 7v squared isolated. That'll equal 29 minus 1, 28. Divide by 7, both sides. And I'll have v squared is positive 4. Square root both sides. We're going to have v at positive and negative 2. What if you don't believe yourself? Glade air freshener. Plug it in, plug it in. 2. 2 squared is 4. 7 times 4, 28, plus 1, 29. Plug in negative 2. Negative 2 times itself is also 4. 7 times 4, 28, plus 1, 29. All right. The grand finale. We'll get x squared alone by adding sweet 16 to both sides. X squared will equal 16. We'll undo squaring by taking the square root. Square root of 16, all possible solutions, 4 and negative 4. So remember, in theory, you should either have 2 solutions, positive and negative a number, or no real solution, and I guess it is possible to have 1 solution. Let's just say you had x squared equals 0, square root both sides. There is no positive and negative 0. There is just 1, 0. That would be the only time you have 1 solution. So either 2 or none in theory. Fly on, D20. I like it. Let's sort a victory.